Hey guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to make your own Dragonica private server. I will show you guys how to make a Dragonica Chapter 4 new origin server. And to start with that, you're going to need to download the files and the client. And to unpack the files and the client, you're going to need WinRAR. You basically have to download WinRAR. It's right here. I'll put the download link in the description. You can also optionally get Notepad++. It's a more advanced version of Notepad, and I strongly recommend this one as well for your development and future development of the server. But first, we need to start with the database. Okay, so to start with the database, you're going to go to the Microsoft website here. I'll link it in the description. And we're going to be using Microsoft SQL Server 2014 Express. We're going to click download. And we're going to be using this one, the Express 64-bit, because we have a 64-bit operative system on our PC. Okay, so I'm going to download this one, click next. No, not that one. Oops. I'm going to download it again here. Next. There we go. I'm not going to take that one. We're going to take this one. Yes. The other one popped up because I had it downloaded from before. But let's download it again. Okay. Let's see. Should be done anytime now. Alright, perfect. It's done. And now we're just gonna install it here to the download folder. And we're gonna go back in the meantime. We're gonna go back here because we don't just need the Express one, we also need the management tools. And that's the one on the bottom here. That's the one I had checked on, that's why I downloaded both of them. And now we're gonna download this one. Management tools. It's for 64-bit as well. It's all the way on the bottom. 683 megabytes. Gonna download it. It's gonna pop up there. Alright. We have to do that one right after we do this one. So let's focus on this one first. Just gonna have to let it open itself. Firewall is disabled. Don't need to worry about that. Alright, there we go. Please wait while starting SQL Server 2014 setup process. Okay, should open now. There we go. We're in the SQL Server installation center now, and we're at the installing part. And we are going to be installing new SQL Server standalone installation or add features to existing installation. We're going to use this one. Gonna click it. And here we want to accept the license terms. Do not turn this one on. You don't need it. And we're gonna click next. We don't need this one. We're gonna click next. Here it's scanning and skipping if needed. There we go. We're gonna just have all of these on. We're gonna take it at the C drive. That's fine. Now we wait. Please wait. And here we're just gonna use the default instance, the MSSQL server. We're gonna keep it default. Gonna click next. Let's see. We're gonna click next here. And here at the server engine configuration, we're gonna click mixed mode, and we're basically creating a system administrator, a SA account. And here we're gonna create that account password. We're just gonna create it 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the username is saw and the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the administrator. That's my PC name. Okay, we're gonna click next. And now it's installing. Shouldn't take too long. So I already downloaded everything on beforehand. So we have the guide here, the text guide that I made with the full info on how to do it in text guide if you don't want to watch the video. Here's the server files. And here's the client that we're going to be using. So we have everything downloaded already. We don't need to wait for me to download that here, in this chapter 4. Okay, so now we have to wait for this one. Let's see. It shouldn't take that long. It's installing a few things. We don't really need this one here. Go back here though. This is the one we're gonna be needing. I'm gonna open this one in the meantime while we wait for that. We're gonna extract it just like we did with the other one. This one has to be done though before we go to the use this one. The Management Studio Express. The Management Studio Express is basically a big tool that you're going to be using to maneuver and edit stuff in your database. This is just the engine itself. And this is the tool that you're going to be using in the engine. So obviously we need the engine to be done first before we can download the tool for the engine. And it looks like it's done, pretty much. Let's see. Let's see. Anytime. Okay, here's the same window that we had. Let's see, this one should be done. Let's see. There we go. All right, completed. So we're gonna check succeeded. Okay, everything's good. We're gonna close this. And now we're gonna go back to the Management Studio one. We're gonna click the same one that we did. Create new and add features to existing. We're basically gonna add features to an existing installation. I'm gonna click this one. No, we're not gonna take that one. I'm gonna click next. We're gonna click add features to existing instance of SQL Server. It's this one that we downloaded, yes. The MS SQL. We're gonna click it. And now we're gonna select the Management Tools Complete. We only need these two. Management Tools Complete and Management Tools Basic. I'm gonna click next. And now it's installing. All right, good. So in the meantime, we're gonna do something else. So basically, another thing you need to do when you're going to be hosting the server on your PC is that you have to change some numbers here. Let's see. You have to go to Device Manager. Device Manager. This is in Norwegian, but this is Device Manager. You're gonna click it. And in here, you want to make sure that you find the network cards. Network cards. You're gonna click it, and you're gonna look for Realtek PCI GBE Family Controller. You're gonna click this one, right click it, and go to Properties. And then you're gonna go to Advanced. Now you want to scroll all the way down until you find Network Address. You want to put the exact same value as I have here. All these numbers, I will put these numbers in the description of the video, and you're gonna copy paste it and put it in here. Then you're gonna click OK. That's really important, or else you're not gonna be able to start some map servers. All right, so you got that done. That's good. Let's go back here and check how it is. Okay, it's almost done. Perfect. Let's see. And there we go. All right, it succeeded. Both of them. All right, perfect. We're going to close this, and now we want to open it. So we're going to click down in the Start menu, and we can already see that it has been added here because newly added. And we see SQL Server 2014 Management Studio. We're going to click that, and it's going to open. All right, so you see that it automatically recognized my PC by my PC name, my desktop name. So we're going to be using this one. We're just going to log in with the Windows authentication. We don't need to type any username or any password. We're just going to use this one and click connect. And we're in. Okay, so the first thing we want to do now that we're in is we want to create a database user. So so to do that, we have to go to security. Then we're going to have to go to login. We're going to have to right click it and click new login. And then a window like this should open. Okay, so we're going to make a SQL Server authentication. We're going to click this one, and we're going to create a username called, let's call it Dragonica Tutorials. Dragonica Tutorials. That's going to be my login name. And the password, well, I'm going to call it the same as the SA123456. It's going to be the password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So username is Dragonica Tutorials. Password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, you can create whatever username and password you want, but I'm gonna stick with this one. Okay, and you want to make sure that you disable all of these: the enforce password policy, enforce password expiration, and the user must change password next login. Just disable all of these three. You don't want to have them. And now we're gonna click OK. There we go. Now here at the login, you can see that we created an account called Dragonica Tutorials. This is our SQL account. We can basically go back and disconnect and then connect again. And then we can log in with this one at SQL Server Authentication instead of Windows. Dragonica Tutorials. And the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember password. And connect. And boom, we're in. Okay. But you don't need to log in like this. It doesn't matter if you're on the Windows or SQL. It doesn't matter at this point. You just have to create that account. We can go back into the Windows one. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now we're going to be setting up the database. So to set up the database, you have to right click the database, and then you have to click Restore Database. And now a window like this should pop up. Here you have to select Device. Then you have to click these three dots here. And then you have to click Add. And now you're going to have to find the file location of the databases. So we're going to have to locate our client, our server files. Okay, so it's in D. It's in, let's see here, Dragonica chapter 4. Server, this is the server files. And it's in DB, database. So to make it much easier, instead of navigating like this all the time, we're going to copy paste the whole link up here. Control C, everything. And then we're going to click one at a time, because we can only do it one at a time. Going to click DR2 def back first. Going to click OK. OK. And now we're going to click OK. Okay, so that's the first one. Gonna right click again, restore database, device, add. Gonna copy paste the whole thing. There, gonna take the one below. Okay, okay, okay. There we go. Right click, restore, device, the dots, add the old add link, local. Okay. Restore again, device, add, put the link, now it's log. Okay. Okay. Restore device. Now it's member. Okay. Restore again, device. Now it's site config. And now it's the last one, which should be user. There we go, and that's user. Alright, now we have restored all the databases. Now we have him on our SQL. Alright, so basically what we want to do next is we want to go to site config. And we're going to click the plus here, and we're going to click the plus on tables. And we are going to be looking at DBO TB realm. So we're going to right click it and click edit top 200 rows. In here we're going to make sure that every single machine IP for every single map is our local IP, which is 127.0.0.1. That's gonna be our local IP. We have to have it like that on every single map. And just ignore the nulls. The nulls are fine. You see, there are certain IPs under server IP bind that's local IP, and certain that are null. But just ignore the null. Don't take them off, or don't erase them. Just keep it like this. And if there's other numbers than 127 on the server bind or machine IP for some reason, you have to modify it and make it 127.0.0.1. That's gonna be the one that you have to use. So we're gonna be looking, is there anything that's not that local IP here? We're gonna be checking. No, everything seems to be local IP. So we don't need to touch that one. Alright, and now we're gonna check site server. Edit top 200 rows here as well. Okay, let's see here. Machine IP 127.0.0.1 server bind. Everything looks to be local IP. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So we don't need to do any modifications in the database because of this. But we're gonna go to logins. We're in the management studio. I want to right-click the user that we have. Go to properties, and then on the left side we want to go to user mapping. In here you have to allocate the ownership of each of the database to that certain user. So right here we have to click it, we have to click the check mark on each and every one of them, and then we have to click DB owner. And here as well, we're gonna check mark it and click DB owner. We're gonna click this one, click DB owner. You have to do it for every single one of an individual of these ones. Here you can see the user that has the DB owner, and here you can see the DBO for DB owner. Everything is already set on local IP. So we can go into our server files now, which is here. Dragonica chapter 4. Alright, we're gonna go into our server files, and we are basically going to go to patch, and we're gonna find the configs in here. And in here we're gonna open our notepad, and we're gonna open the configs here in a smaller window, and we're just gonna be marking all of them and just drag them on the top window here, so they're all gonna be put up here automatically. We're gonna go all the way to the left, and we're gonna be starting. Okay, in the local ini we don't need to do anything. Log config ini, we don't need to do anything. It's set to local IP here. Here is the first one where we have to do some modifications. we would have to put our address here, our desktop address that's in SQL. So basically in the address, you're gonna have to put the server name. So the server name here, mine is the desktop, this one. We're gonna copy it, and we're gonna go back into here, and we're gonna paste it here, the server. Apparently it's the same one that I currently have as well, so I don't need to erase it. So we're gonna copy paste it here and put it at the address, because this controls the DR2 log database. That's why it has to be the SQL address. And this is the username that we created, the SQL account username that we created. Dragonica tutorials. That's the one that I created. And then I have to put the password below, the password of the SQL, meaning the user that you made here, this one, the username you have to put here, and the password you have to put below. And same here, address there, ID there, and password there. And everything is already filled out, so I don't need to do it here, but you guys would have to change it if you have a different username or a different password, and obviously a different PC address like this. That one is fine. We don't need to do anything here in the login config. In the mail config, we don't need to do anything as well. We can keep it like this. Map contestant, we can keep it like that. Patch version can stay 0, 1, 2, can stay like this. Switch contestant.ini, no, we don't need to do anything here. Center config, we don't need to do anything. Center contestant, we don't need to do anything. And here we can put the IP as the IP here, the local IP, and we're going to put the ID that we made in SQL and the password and the accept IP, the local one, and a local one up here and a local one here. So where it says IP, you can put the local one in a constant AP config. Here you don't need to do anything. Here you don't need to do anything. Same with this one and that one. We're gonna go all the way here. It's not many left now. And in this one as well. And here is where we have to do a lot of stuff. Basically, there's a shorter way to replace all of these. You can mark them, and then you can click Control and F. And then you can click Replace, and then you can click Find what you want to find here. You want to find this one, and then you can type what text you want to replace it with, and then click Replace All. And then it will scan the whole document for every single one of these types of text, and all of these will be modified the same. That's a quick way to modify them all. Or you can do it manually. Put your address up, your PC address up here in SQL, your ID that you made, and the password that you make in every single one of these sections. So when you've done that, you can go to the... And obviously I forgot to say that every single time you do this, just click Control and S to save. Control and S. Okay, so we're done with that one. We're going to continue. GM config, you don't need to do anything. GMDB config, here you want to put your address, because this is under the DR2GM SQL, which is here, DR2GM database. So you don't need to do anything there. And then you have to type your ID and your password on your SQL, as previously said. Immigration consent, you don't need to do anything. And here you want to do the same. Put your address, put the ID, and put the password. And here as well, the address, ID, and password. All right, okay. So we're done with all the configs in the config folder. Next up, what we want to do is we're going to go all the way back to the root folder, the root of the server files. And we're going to go to GC. And we're going to go to dbconfig. We're going to open this one. We're going to open it as a normal one, normal notice. And here we're going to edit the address here as well, and the ID, and the password, just like previously here. And then we want to check the local. It's good. And then we want to check the MMC. So basically the MMC is where you're going to be starting the map, the servers for the maps. So at the bottom here you want to create a username, an ID, and a password to start the map. Here you can just create a simple one like 1 the ID can be 1 and the password can be 1, that's fine. You can keep it like this, and the IP has to be local IP, of course. And then you click save. Alright, now we want to go back here to the main root folder, and we're gonna have to modify this one a little bit, the second one, the one that says 2. I'm gonna right click and click edit. Here you're gonna see an MMC address. Basically, the address that should be here should be your local IP, this one. Do not modify anything that's below these 2 exclamation points here, because these 4 numbers here are the ports. You do not want to erase them or take them away. You just have to edit these numbers here if they're not 127.0.0.1, the local IP. But it's good. It's already a local IP. We don't need to modify this one. It's good. Alright, so everything is starting to square up. We just need to modify a little bit in the client first. So we're gonna go back to the root folder and go to the client. And in here, you're gonna see one config here, config.ini. Alright, so we're gonna open this one. It doesn't matter if you open it with Notepad or Notepad++, it doesn't matter. But you have to change the IP up here. The IP at the top, it has to be 127.0.0.1. If it's not this, you have to edit it like this. Then you have to click save. Alright. So we fixed the client and we fixed the server, and everything has the right IPs and the right ports. Now what we want to do is we want to create an account. Now remember, there is already a default account in here that the username is test and the password is test. But we're going to be showing you guys how to make an account either way. So to make an account, we want to start the database. I'm just going to close these ones for now because we don't need them. Okay, we're going to have to go to DR2 member. We're going to click plus. And then we're going to go to programmability, stored procedures. And then we have to find DBO up create member account. We're going to right click it, and then we're going to click execute stored procedure. And now it's going to pop up here. And here at the top is where you just want to type 0. This will be your ID. So we're going to make it the ID called test2, for example. And we're going to create the password called test2. And a gender, it can just be 0. It doesn't matter. And then we have to make a birthday date. Okay, so to make a birthday date, I'm gonna open this one for myself a little bit. In this guide, because in this guide I posted a birth date. Let's see here. I don't remember it by my head, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit and find it. Let's see. There we go. All right. So this is going to be the email. I'm going to post this in the description as well, and it will also be in the Notepad document. So we have the birthday here, all this, and gender, and ID and password, and then we're going to click OK. Executing, it says. Executing, query executed successfully. Okay, we created an account, a test2 account. All right, that's good, that's good. So now let's start the server. So to start the server, you have to go here to the server files. So now we're going to go back here, and we're going to be starting the first one. So it get folder, okay. And now we're going to wait a couple of seconds, and we're going to start the second one. All right, there we go. So we basically now have to wait for this one to be completely done here. In the meantime, we're going to start the third one. And we already created an ID and a password for this, and that was 1 and 1. And connect. We're going to click site 1. See, the servers are off. We have to wait for these ones first. And then we can click refresh. Then it will become red, meaning that we can open them. Okay. So we are going to be waiting a little bit. It shouldn't take too long, but the first time you do it, it's going to take a little bit of time. and it's gonna reset when you restart your PC. Basically, it will take shorter time every time you reset it. If you've done it already once per PC, it's gonna go faster. So now we're gonna have to wait a little bit. Let's see. So basically, hosting a server on your PC requires a decent CPU. Like, it will take quite some space to open these maps on your PC. Your CPU will, maybe he will scream a little bit, but it's not very bad unless you don't open all of these at the same time. But if you keep opening a few of them at once, you should be safe. Like, only the necessary ones in the beginning. Like, for example, in the beginning you don't need to open all of them. You only need to open a few. So that's what we're going to do when this is done. And having a decent amount of RAM as well is also pretty good. Decent RAM and a decent processor, you should be fine. I would say at least 8 GB of RAM. And having an i5 as a CPU as well. Anything below i5, I'm not sure if I would host a server on it, to be honest. Let's see. Shouldn't take too long. Let's see. Yeah, it's taken some time in the beginning, but see, it's getting there now. Look, it's happening. Oh, it's starting. This is good. Purple is always good. It's a start. You can just ignore this. Connect to immigration server failed. This is completely normal. There we go. Processing end. Everything became red, which means they're off. So now we have to start them. In the beginning, we're going to start the essential ones. That's the login, GM server, log, immigration, content, public center, log, channel, switch, and then a couple of maps so that we can get through the tutorial and get to a delay in the beginning. I'm going to use this one and click on. A lot of CMD windows is going to open now. This is going to take a lot of CPU in your PC. So make sure that you're prepared for this. And now we're starting the maps. That's why each of them are popping up. This is completely normal. Connect to center fail. That's completely normal. Just have to wait. As you can see, they're working. Once they're white, it means it's good. It's on. Once it's yellow, it's working. It's about to get on. Let's see. Ah, they're getting more and more are getting white. That's good. Alright, so the necessary ones have been white. We can actually start the client. We're gonna go to server. And we're gonna go back into the client. And to start the game, you're gonna have to go to release. And you're gonna start using the Dragonica International Local. Not this one, but this one. Alright, it's gonna pop up. It's normal that it says not responding in the beginning. A lot of stuff is happening in the background of the PC. These arrows are normal. You can just click X on it. It's a debug client. It's a debug exe. That's why it's coming up like this. You can just click X on it, X on it, and X on it. It doesn't matter. It will work just fine. Alright, so we created an account called Test2. We're gonna try to log in with it. Test2. Test2, Test2. And boom! We're in. Channel 1. And just like that, we're in, guys. We've created our own private server of Dragonica, and now you can do it too. So if you have any questions or anything, just remember to ask it in the Discord chat, and we'll try to reply you as best as we can. So take care, guys. Alright guys, so this is gonna be a follow-up video from the previous guide that I made, and to troubleshoot and help you guys with some of the most common errors that you guys have been having and submitting. So I'm gonna start off first by saying that I forgot to tell you guys about an issue, and that was when a database is connecting. There people had an issue with this one. It says, oh, site config user failed to connect, user preparation, red text, it's not good. And then it creates a dump and it fails to connect. And the reason for this is because you've forgotten to add the proper permissions to the SQL account. So what we want to do is we want to go to security, but we're going to go to logins. We're in the management studio. And we want to right click the user that we have, go to properties, and then on the left side we want to go to user mapping. In here you have to allocate the ownership of each of the database to the certain user. So right here we have to click it, we have to click the check mark on each and every one of them, and then we have to click DB owner. And here as well, we're gonna check mark it and click DB owner. We're gonna click this one, click DB owner. You have to do it for every single one of an individual of these ones. Here you can see the user that has the DB owner, and here you can see the DBO for DB owner. Okay, so we have everything like that set up. And that thing will fix this issue. It will start up normally if you do that, because then it will have the proper ownership of that login. Another thing to mention is that some people have been having issues connecting to certain maps and certain one of these. And that's because it requires MAC, so MAC addresses. Basically, this is an issue with mainly Windows 7 and operative systems like that. So we're going to be releasing some login server exes and a content server exe that you can replace in the server files that will fix this issue. You'll be able to start the maps normally. So what you want to do is, I'm going to put a download link of these two, the login server release and the content server release. What you want to do is you want to go to your server files, you want to head over to patch, and then you want to go to consents. Here you will see the consent servers. You just have to drag this one up here and replace it with the current one. This is only if you have Windows 7, by the way. The issue is not on Windows 10 at all. So if you have Windows 10, and you don't need to worry about this step with these two exes. Don't worry about it. Only if you have Windows 7 and you have issues connecting maps like this. So you want to drag it up and replace it, the consent server, and then you want to go back, and then you want to go to login, and you want to drag the login server release up here. And then you replace it. Then you will have no MAC addresses in here, in these ones. Alright, now that one is done, you might be wondering, oh no, my client, there's so many debugs, so many error messages coming up when I start the game. And this you can easily fix by right-clicking the config file, edit with Notepad, and then we can go here, this one, Notepad document, and all the way on the bottom, we can copy-paste this. I'm gonna put it in the description. Debug show message box equals 0. You just post it on a new row here, all the way on the bottom, and then you click File and you click Save. When you save it and you start the client, all the error messages will be gone. You'll not see them anymore. Also, there is some Chinese translations and translations that's not English. You can also get these to be English by downloading this database here, the dr2 local en.back. This is an English database. So to do this, you just go in SQL again. You go to database. You right click the one that's dr2 local. You go to delete and you click close existing connections. And then you will close it and delete it. And then you have to go back as normally, click restore database, device, the dots, add, and then you have to find it. And you have to find a database where you save that database file. And then just restore it normally. Obviously, you can't do this if you have the server open at the same time, so you have to exit the server and restart it all over again when you restore this database. And then you can start up the game. And then the game will be in much more normal English. So everything should be working fine. We covered the database, the English database. We covered the Mac related issues, the Mac addresses for Windows 7 users. And yeah, and we also cover this issue here with the database permissions in the login, and then the user, and then properties, and then user mapping. So every one of these have to have DB owner. You have to click every single one of them and add normally. So we covered all these, and this should fix a lot of the issues that we've been getting the past few days. So I hope it was useful, and as always, stay tuned. We'll make more guides soon.